the dramas that are coming out for this last, I guess I'm going to call it a quarter of 2025, are they not all just really surprisingly good? I have found some straight up heat, and I want to share that with you on today's episode, which is one of the first in my series called A Character Sketch. An AIRAKSARANG character sketch is exactly what it sounds like. It's where I give you my first impressions of a drama, but I do it via the separate characters, or at least the characters that I care about. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the character sketch of the 2025 CBL. That don't even sound right, do it? Okay. Called To My Shore. Make sure you consult the information section of this channel, because there you are going to find my podcast, the OG trademarked podcast, AIRAKSARANG. That is the place where all of the magic started for me, baby, but not with drama watching, just in that realm of podcasting. I am not new to this podcast game. I've on this particular podcast been doing so since 2022, and I've had an absolute pleasure doing so. And as we know, being on YouTube is a different animal than being on many other spots on the internet. Because of that, you can get a little bit of a different take on my podcast, because when I say C, B, and L don't seem like they supposed to go in the same row of caps lock letters, I mean that. And the reasons that I mean that, you can find on my podcast. But for the purposes of focus today, we're going to go through the character sketch of To My Shore. Now, I've only seen the first episode. That is where my first impression is constricted to. So please keep that in mind while I do the best that I can to give you my impressions. If you have not seen this drama, I would encourage you to go see it for yourself, because my impressions may drizzle premise in, and as I am wont to do, I will probably say certain things about the plot that you may or may not want to glean in a second-hand nature. But if you're here and you're listening to this podcast, you're probably one of the OGs from the other podcast, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming over here. You are what this is all about. So the first character we're gonna go with is, let's go with, because we haven't had some of these folks introed to us yet, so we'll just go with the three main characters that I've gotten thus far. So the first one is Dada. That's his government name. In the drama, his name is Ruchun, or Chun Chun, which I think is an adorable nickname, which he is called by his BF. And we'll get to him. But just for character sketch purposes, what do I think about Chun Chun? Chun Chun is gorgeous. And I'm got to think of some different adjectives to depict a person's handsomeness, because gorgeous just rolls off the tongue so easily. But Dun Dun is shiny. That's where his attractiveness resides for me. He's very easy to look at. He is the BF of our male lead, one of our male leads. And to me, he's to be protected. I would love to see how they plan on removing him from the male lead that he's with, because he's just so nice. I don't see how you separate him from the male lead and it be logically okay. Not really logic, because I like the idea of losing yourself in far-fetched fantasy, baby. Shit that don't make sense. But he is such a good guy that the justification for them not being together is going to need to veer more toward a little bit more logic, something. Okay. So Chun Chun, he is definitely going to go through some things on this because we have to extricate him from his boo. And he's so cute. And we always have that person, even when they're attached to our lover, and we know that that lover has to be reconnected to someone else. There's always those flaws. They're either evil and worrisome, and you're like, okay, I cannot wait until they meet a bitter end or get, broken up with. Or there's just something very overt, something very obvious about who they are. This has not surfaced yet in Chun Chun. And Chun Chun, I'm looking at the character lineup. Chun Chun might be Chun Chun is going to be just fine, okay? He is going to be just fine because I'm only doing a character sketch on 3 characters today. And the 4th one, who I'd love the character sketch, is likely going to be the reason why old Chun Chun will be just fine. Moving on, we've got Hua Iran. That's his government name. And in the drama, his name is Yu Shurang. I like his name, Shurang. Yu Shurang. He's really good. And do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Bai Jing Ting. When you watch him, you will be very reminiscent of him. They have mannerisms, and even better than that, their facial structure is extremely similar. So, Shu Rang, how do I describe his character sketch without including the best for last, honey? He is your straight character. And I don't mean straight, baby, because this a BL now. I hope you know what you listening to, okay? This is a BL, so he ain't straight, but you know what I mean. He's that guy that goes by the book, who is led more by principle than emotion. But you can tell via a lot of his internal dialogue and a lot of his hesitance in the first episode that he is a guy of repressed personality. And there's nothing more tragic than watching a character who has to repress the best parts of themselves. And you can see that in him. And I just think that he is your ideal boyfriend. And again, how do you make him all of a sudden be the monster he would have to be to leave little Chun Chun, and I don't see that being something that will be executable without who I think is coming for old Chun Chun. I think everybody will be able to shake hands and go mind their business. So let me bring in the best for last. And this character sketch is kind of shaping up a little bit faster than I thought because it's very difficult to talk around a character without introducing the other characters that make them a little bit more intriguing. The man that's making everybody in this drama more interesting than they would ever be on their own, his name is Yun Chi. And in the drama, his name is Fan Chao. Okay, what can I say? He's everything you want your male lead to be. He's got that face that you just want to, rest your chin on your palms and just watch him talk. But while he's talking, he can keep firing up them damn black and silver tipped cigarettes forever for me. So now I have to bring in some premise so that these characters can take a little bit more shape. So Fan Chao is a man who he's wealthy, he's accomplished, he's dark, he's menacing, but he's got this undercurrent of extreme sex I hate that it comes down to sex appeal because there's more depth. He's alluring. He's allure. He's got an electricity that just runs underneath his skin at all times. This drama is like watching a C drama, a licorne, and a vertical all in one. It's wonderful because everybody smoke. At first, I thought that we weren't gonna get nothing but just like a whole episode of everybody smoking, which I love. Here we go. One of those little AIRAKSARANG quirks. I absolutely love when our male leads smoke. Don't ask me why. Well, hey, I know that I'm on to something, and this is way before I started watching verticals, but we know that a key factor in what makes verticals everything that they've ever been to us is the smoking. And you got to know, if you come over there, you're going to smoke. You have to smoke. Why? Because we girls think that shit's sexy, and it is. This guy smokes the sexiest cigarette you've ever seen. He smokes it in the hey, he really smokes. Now that's another thing, which is something that I understand why actors don't want to go there. This really isn't a con for me, but AIRAKSARANG be watching. I told you I be on tongue duty and I be on smoke duty too, apparently, because if your ass is not inhaling a la Bill Clinton style, I noticed that shit. Told me I didn't inhale. Okay, well, our second male lead, he doesn't inhale. He don't inhale. And I notice it, and it's just like the first male lead is such a smooth, oozing with charisma guy that I forgive the second male lead, because the first male lead, he inhales for real. Okay. So he's very mysterious. He heads the company that he works in. This plot can be a little confusing to grasp at first in relation to what location are they at, because baby, they ain't in China. Okay, and like I told you, if you want more about that, go to my podcast. But they're in Tai, which I absolutely love. I mean, come on, y'all, I ain't got no problems with that. Why? Because we're getting polyglot goals. Okay, I am a polyglot, and Tai is on my list of languages that I am working to master and have been for years. It is a treat to me that we get both. Our male lead speaks Thai. At least he has memorized a few lines and it sounds good. Now he hit us with a sentence at the end of episode 1 where he told Udi, male lead, his interest, that he was the hottest guy in the entire world. Something to that degree. And homeboy turns around. He's like, what? What did you say? And he's like, oh, nothing. I was just telling you good night. Like that. And his Thai sounded good there. But because I'm a polyglot and my Thai is struggle, baby, I ain't gonna act like I'll speak it fluently. The reason why I know that sentence was probably as struggle as it could be is because when he said Swatika at the beginning, or Swatikrab, which is what a guy would say, women say ka, men would say krab. He didn't say that good. And my thing is, if you can't even say hi, baby, that's the first metric. That's how you know you're struggling in a language. If you don't say hi like a native, everything else you saying is off. And that's okay, and it should be, because you're not a native. You have your own accent. You try your best. You keep that popping, and don't give up, because you can do it. Nevertheless, I know his Thai is struggle, but it sounded so good and sexy coming out of his mouth. So I'm like, ooh, I am an easy sell, baby, because you still sound good. So anyway, this drama is extremely good. If you feel bad when you watch this drama because you are taking the remnants of revenge love into it, stop feeling bad. I'm giving you the AIRAKSARANG seal of approval that you don't have to feel bad. Why? Because Revenge Love did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was AG. It is absolute BL gold. For me, it's the best BL, the best one. And that's saying a lot, y'all. That is saying a lot. Now, I don't know how far back I can go and say this is the best, because we know we got Johnny and Tim who was running shit over there and Addicted. Like we got the Untamed. Like, I don't know how far I can go back and say best, but I can say, let's say in the 20s, it's the best one, because I just cannot get over that one. And when I went into this squinting, through a Revenge Loved, tinted set of glasses, I realized that it's okay that I'm doing this, because the reason that I am anticipating that this drama is going to do what it looks like it's going to do is because Revenge Love did what it did. So here's another warning shot if you don't want to know what's going on. So Udi male lead is Chinese ethnically, and he comes from obviously a province in China, but he grew up in Tai, and his childhood was tumultuous because he was like, you know what I'm saying, the side bitch son. So he didn't get treated right. He got abused as a child, but he's got enough connection to Tai that he grew up there, learned the language, knew the customs, the mores, the norms, all of that. Went back to China at some point. Now he's back, but his language is kind of rusty. His understanding of things is kind of rusty. And when he talks to his co-star at times, his Chinese is off because he's been living, he's got that dual tongue. And sometimes when you're a polyglot, you even start to speak your native language strange, because you've got several languages influencing your dialect. I find that to be an issue for me. I also, when you learn a language, you think in that other language. Now, if you're a polyglot, that means you're learning several languages at once. So I'm thinking like any handful of languages at once when I'm trying to arrive at certain thoughts. And sometimes it's really frustrating to communicate even with, just people in my everyday life, because sometimes idioms that exist in other languages don't exist in your native language, and what you want to say, the feeling behind what you're trying to communicate, is better expressed in another language, but you can't express that because of obvious reasons. But so he is back, and he is acquiring other businesses and attempting to, give them a leg up, as it were. And he's taken on an account and promised that he's going to help our other male lead in his company. He's doing great things in his company, so he has taken this company under his wings. But in the meantime of that, they have already been acquainted in the past because they got in a car accident. Let's just call him the bottom, y'all. I'm gonna call him the bottom, but he's the top with Chun Chun. He's the top of Chun Chun, but he's gonna be the bottom of Fancha. Yeah, y'all. Now, hey, I'm cool. I'm cool with that. So he hit him way back, earlier in the summer. It's always summer in Tai, so who knows what month it is, but he hit him and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I was looking at the GPS, and Udi Male League got out and he was like, oh, it's all good. You look like you chilly because you're coughing all over me. Have you ever heard of covering your damn mouth? Why don't you take my coat? He gave him his coat. Y'all, this is in the first few minutes of the damn drama. And from then, they've always had like some kind of he's always kind of had him in the corner of his mind. Despite the fact that after he left the crash site, he took his coat, tossed it on the ground, and wiped his shirt off because he needed to wipe that guy away. I don't know. But he's one of those dark, mean guys that is just like, he's the guy that could just like, you know what I'm saying? Kill you, like love you to death. Let's just say that. He's the guy that could love your ass to death, quite literally, because he's just got that streak. So he's got a little mole in the company. You could tell he just don't be looking right when they're having their meetings. He's looking like he's got shit up his sleeve, and we know we're gonna see more from him. He's kind of an OG in the company, but because he's like, did you forget how to set up a conference room table? And he was like, what you mean? And he was like, now this isn't the OG, this is somebody else. And he was like, well, I kind of did this at the last minute. He was like, okay, but next time I come in this meeting, if I'm not at the head of the table, it's going to be your head rolling down the table or something, because he didn't appreciate sitting on the side while the guy he probably knows is trying to double cross him sits at the head of the table. And that OG, it's kind of like he all jovial and happy in the meeting, and it's like you having a little bit too much fun in my damn seat. Now, they ain't say none of this, but every innuendo that I just expressed is pretty much what the male lead was saying by, did you forget how to seat the CEO at the head of the damn table? So he ends up running back into Yushu. He ends up seeing him at a hospital. And unfortunately, there's this scene where this woman at the hospital, steps over the balcony with her newborn in her hands because she's at her limit. She is overwhelmed and she's about to do something very tragic. And they're trying to figure out how they can save the baby, because second male lead is like, look, if she jump, just get the baby. Don't even worry about her. Just don't even worry about her. So unfortunately, she does drop the baby. They catch the baby and they do it together. Our two, future lovers. Now, what makes this story have a sadistic twist, and I absolutely love it. So Yu Shu Long, he's got a boyfriend, Chun Chun, and I'm calling him the second male lead just because, I don't know, he's not the second male lead. He's the lead. He's the co-star. So his boyfriend is like a male model, and he has decided that he's going to join his boo in Taipei. His boo does business, and then he takes these odd modeling jobs. And the male lead has decided that, you know what, I'm jealous that you already have a girlfriend, except he then finds out it's a boyfriend, and then he's truly intrigued because of obvious reasons. But our Chun Chun, he is on a photo shoot. He's not a photo shoot. He's got a modeling gig. That modeling gig happens to be one that was set up with our male lead, Feng Cha. And so he does this self-portrait of him, and he tells him, hey, the reason why certain pictures are so beautiful is because artists kind of fall in love with their muse. Don't be alarmed, but I'm probably going to fall in love with you a little bit while I'm doing this, and then at another point in episode 1, Chun Chun's at this gathering with frenemies, people that really hate you, but they kick it with you just to laugh at you, that kind of thing. And the male lead shows up there. He pays for the whole nore bang, and then he proceeds to just show those people up. And he's sexy, and he's dark, and he's handsome, and everybody's fawning over him. And now he's got some cred, our little Chun Chun, who's finer than everybody in this group, but still. And we know they jealous of him. And so Chun Chun's like, thank you so much. They really are not my friends. And he's like, I know. And I did that because I could sense when I came in the room, the vibe was off. Y'all was wrong. So I decided I was going to help you. He was like, thank you. And he was like, well, let me give you a ride home. And Chun Chun, who's being, walked up on by Fanta, is like, you know what? You will have my ass in all over this back seat. So no, I'm going to call a Uber, but thank you anyway. So he hurries up and he leaves. So I'm just like, Uri Fancha, he absolutely wants to break up Chun Chun and his baby. And I don't see how that's going to happen. And Fancha still be a good guy. it's one of those things where the male lead is a bad guy, but he's got so much charisma that at times he looks like a good guy. He's totally into Yu Shudong. His target is Yu Shudong, but he's willing to fuck his situation up with Chun Chun, even if it means that he's got to get that shit popping with Chun Chun just to make it that much easier for Yu Shudong to be his. So Yu Shudong, he fake smoking, baby. He is fake smoking. And Fun Chao is offering him his cigarettes. Shudong, he smokes his own brand of cigarettes, but Fun Chao has given him a new brand. And as the episode continues and as his feelings start to develop, he's starting to think about Fun Chao. So much so that when he gets that popping with Chun Chun, Chun Chun is like, what got into you? You don't normally give it to me like that. And he's like, I know, I got it. He was like, where you hurting? He was like, I ain't hurting nowhere. He was like, okay then, be quiet. Nah, he didn't say it like that, but he was like, I'm going outside to smoke. And he's smoking a new cigarette, just showing evidence that you creeping, all the telltale signs. And I'm just like, you know what? These three are going to wreak havoc on each other. And it's so interesting because Fun Chao is not going to care about how he acquires Yu Shudong. He just wants to win him. He thinks he's the hottest guy in the world. I just love that. So I've only seen episode 1. Hopefully you're willing to give it a chance. I have to confess that after Revenge Love, not only could I not get over that drama, but I felt strange for even trying other dramas and liking them. If you are a fellow BLer like me and Revenge Love has you reeling and you're like, you know what, I'm going to watch them because I'm a BLer for life like AIRAKSARANG, but I'm going in